What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Sam, and I am back with another video. So today we are going to be discussing the difference between a good trade and a lucky trade. Okay, now this is going to be important because oftentimes when we have a lucky trade, we try to take credit for it. We are emotionally invested, and so we're basically chasing that validation again, but we have nothing to support what actually helped you to come green on that trade. Versus when you have a good trade, you are following rules that you set, and rules are very important prior to actually trading. So I highly recommend it, and that is what is going to help you to stay disciplined and not be emotional. Now, when we say not to be emotional, that's a lot easier said than done if you don't have rules, because we are emotional beings, and I've mentioned that before in previous videos, right? We can't just take advice like don't be emotional and not be emotional. That's just not how it works. But you can work towards not being emotional when it comes to making trades, and the best way to do that is set rules. So after you've picked a company, you decide how many shares you're going to buy. Where are you going to buy these shares? Where are you going to set your limits? Are you going to set limits? What happens if it goes below a particular price? Are you going to buy more? Are you going to wait out a little bit? Right? Things of that nature. So when you write out your rules, and as you write out your rules, you're going to get more rules. You're going to get more ideas, because you're really going to know what's right and what's wrong. And if you're unsure, then it won't necessarily be a rule. And once it doesn't go your way and you've learned from that, then you can implement it on the next trade and make it a rule. So essentially, that is how you learn to not get too emotional. Writing down your rules beforehand also supports whatever analysis that you have made on that particular company, because that's the whole point of making your rules, right? Observing the company, what it's been doing, what you think it's going to do, which is the analysis, and setting those rules. And you can also set rules to different outcomes. If it does this, I'm going to follow these rules. If it does that, I'm going to follow those rules. That is how you trade logically and not emotionally. And that is also going to help you when you are red on a trade, because I already talked to you in previous videos about the benefits of not necessarily being red, but a stock being in the red, right? You just kind of look at it as a good opportunity to buy more. And like I said, that's easier said than done. But if you write it down and you do the math, you will understand how that logic applies and how it will equate to you being green on trades and not lucky on trades, because we don't need luck. Luck is false hope, it's bait, and if anything, it's not real. It's basically tricking you into believing in something that's not actually true. Versus you remain consistent, you follow your rules, and you learn how to get green with specific rules, and you just fine tune it and go along that way. That is the best way to make good trades as opposed to being lucky on a trade. Okay. If you haven't seen my previous videos where I talked about what to do, essentially, if it doesn't go your way in terms of you're bullish on a move and it just goes bearish, you need to go watch those videos. With that being said, now is a good chance to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, so that you can follow on this journey and make sure you don't miss any videos. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, and make sure you share. Now, we talked about lucky trades. We talked about good trades. Now let's talk habits. Habits are what is going to determine if you are a successful trader or not, and how well your portfolio turns out. I told you this before. Making deposits, making consistent deposits, okay? Having stocks on your watch list and observing them to make sure you understand how it moves. Not necessarily textbook terms, right? But observing, letting your subconscious soak in what is happening so that when you are ready to make a move, you can pretty much execute without much hesitation, because not everything's going to be textbook. A lot of the stuff you're going to have to do. You can watch a million YouTube videos all you want, but that person who actually goes in and makes a trade or makes a move is the person who's going to learn the quickest. But it is important that that person has rules so they don't burn themselves. So rules are very important. Writing down your goals, very important. Write down what goal you want to reach. This is where we eliminate randomness. We do not want randomness. We want consistency. And with writing down your rules, writing down your goals, staying disciplined, and remaining consistent, you are destined to do well. Okay? So I hope that resonated well with you guys. I'll see you on the next video.